Teamster Power 767 Reality Check with Jeff Schenfeld and Garfield Hooper.
All right, Garfield, how's everything going today, first off?
It's pretty good. We got a long weekend this weekend. I mean,
Yep.
I'm digging it. I'm gonna use that time to have a few beers, grill out, have some fun with some friends, but still got to get this podcast recorded.
Always, always, always. Education is right at the front right there.
Yeah.
So we're going to get right into it. We've talked about, like I said, and I'll always say this, we've talked about these things before, but we're going to talk about how to fill out certain grievances.
Yeah.
Okay. And the first one we're going to talk about is supervisors working.
Mm-hmm. And that's
So,
Article 3, national language. Always
yeah,
important.
346 for the supplement.
Yeah, 46. We have a luxury of in our local of having some like pre-filled out ones because those things. I mean, I spend a lot of time as a steward explaining how to fill out grievances, especially to newer drivers. And a lot of them, it's nice to be able to just print out and hand a veteran or somebody a pre-filled out grievance. All they got to do is put in their personal information and put in the hours that the supervisor worked. And those,
Absolutely.
those are nice. Our local provides those. They've been doing that for a couple of years. But in fact, didn't that do that while you guys were in office, Jeff? Wasn't that one of your things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We had them up in my old local 804.
Yeah.
And we 2 years before I became a BA, me and one of the other guys, one of the other stewards at the time, we were talking about these pre-filled, and that'd be great. We wound up becoming BAs. We brought it to their attention, and then we started doing the supervisors working pre-filled out grievances. I mean, and then it went to 9.5. Then they have I think was it 43, or I think they have a couple of different ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's just make it easier, right? You don't have to fill out that part. It's pre-filled out, but you still have to fill your name out. Hopefully everyone can get that right, So
the last four of your social.
Exactly.
That was something that that it took me a while to get into beating people's heads, as people were putting their whole social security number on those, and I was like, stop it. I don't want to be walking around with people's whole social security numbers in my bag. Like, stop it. Don't do that. The last four of your socials all we need, because that's how our union. I don't know how everybody says it, but that's how our union keeps track of everybody in the local. Is the last four of their social.
Yeah, and that's just one part of it. I mean, everyone's got to fill out every part. Your name, address, phone number, classification, everything. The email, that's important. I mean, you got to be able to, send it. And, every part is important. I know people want to, go through these grievances. Let me just fill it out as quick as I can. Let me leave out stuff. Every part is important. And then it starts with, when they ask you, what nature of the grievance, you put other right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's it's a supervisor's working, and then you're going to put all the stuff in there. When did it happen? The dates, the times.
Dates are important.
Specific times.
It doesn't matter how like minimal the grievance is, or for whatever it is. A couple minutes here or there. This, that, or the other. Make sure your dates and times are important, are in there correctly. Because like you can get like whole grievances thrown out because you wrote the wrong date on there or something, and it's important that you make sure your dates are right and that you put it in there. It's also important that you do it legibly.
Yes.
I've got a couple of guys that file grievances on a regular basis, and like they'll do the whole thing on their computer, and then they'll just sign the bottom and bring it to me. And that's fine. I mean, if you want to do that, you can do fillable PDFs and stuff like that. Put all that stuff in there. We've got some guys that, they will file random grievances from here and there. So they have ones for themselves that are pre-filled out with all their personal information that they just keep in their bags, and they fill in the bottom parts. So how you do it is it's just important that you fill it out correctly. You don't leave anything blank. You
Nope.
If like on our grievances, there is a section where it chooses like, is this a pay claim? Is this other? Is it unjust discharge, supervision? It's important that you
Yeah.
select the right one. Obviously, it's important that you put the right article in there. If you don't know the article,
Always.
contact your steward or your business agent. Find somebody that can like,
Yep.
hey, this is the correct article. I generally tell people to always put all that apply afterwards, just to cover your ass.
Yep. Yep.
You include like if it was on a discipline for like to suspend or something, put on there which member of management issued the discipline, which steward was representing you, and like if it was over a situation that multiple people witnessed, put their names on it as well. Like, because the more information you give the BA, should this discipline be heard, like the more ammunition they're going to have to go to and say, hey, this didn't happen, or this didn't happen the way the company is saying that it happened, or this is complete bullshit. Throw it out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and where did it take place? I mean, specifically box line 1 by
Yeah.
by the bottom sort. I mean, be specific on that. And like I said, those are important. And everyone's grievances are different across the country.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different. And so, for us, the next one is who was involved, what member of management was involved,
Yeah.
what member, anyone else on our side who may have seen it. I mean, it's good to have a witness. But you don't need it. You don't need a witness if you see them working. I mean, they're working.
Yeah.
That's it. You put the right information. And the next, when they ask for a brief description, don't argue your case. Just supervisors were working.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's not where you argue on the front page.
Yeah.
Less is more. Supervisors were working, and that's it. And you do the articles. But here's the thing. Also, I'm just going to say it. You want to do 3 and 46 for supervisors working, but why not throw a 17 in there, right? Because if they don't pay it, there's still penalty pay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So we'll talk about that after.
well, I mean, we're kind of moving down. If we're moving down the grievance, we're kind of there. We're at the settlement portion now, because that comes directly for us.
Okay.
That comes directly below the article, and
Yep.
in ours. And I'll put if anybody's watching this on YouTube, I'll put up a copy of it on the screen so people can look. We have it pre-printed on our grievances to be made whole.
In every way.
In every way. And that's plain English to me. And that to most business agents, I feel like it should be plain English as well. We've had some problems with this, but I don't think that this should be argued. I shouldn't have to put, I want penalty pay for this, because it's right there pre-printed on our grievance. It says, hey, to be made
That
whole in
and in
every
Article
way.
17.
And in Article 17, yeah. So if
It-
we're
it
talking
clearly
about
says-
if we're talking about an Article 17 grievance that you've made, you put on there that you want to be obviously made whole, you want to be your pay to be corrected, but you also want to be paid penalty pay on top of it. But
Yep.
I guess, despite the fact that our grievance says that pre-printed on it, I have to suggest that everybody also put that penalty pay in the settlement. You shouldn't have to. I'm glad. I mean, obviously, be thorough, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a question that if it says it pre-printed on the grievance, that we should also be going for penalty pay for these issues. Not to mention the fact that it's also It's like Article 17 is has the penalty pay language in it. But when BAs want to use this as an excuse to not, do the extra work, go the extra mile to take care of their members, then, we have to say, hey, you're working, you're working, the company's shorting you money or whatever, or they're working supervisors instead of Teamster members. Hey, we also need you to be sure and remember to put penalty pay on here, because if you don't, we're not going to fight for that for you.
It's absolutely mind-boggling. And again, the people out there, you can put it on there, but if you don't, it shouldn't be a deal breaker
It shouldn't be.
because our grievances say it and the Article 17 says it. That's it. That's it. I mean, the language is the language. I don't understand why that should even be a problem. Okay. And again, just so everyone knows, for penalty pay, once they have the settlement, they agree on a date, you're supposed to have it within 2 weeks. That day comes, you file the grievance because you have 10 days to file the penalty pay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, you file for it, you make sure you do everything you have to. And, when it comes to penalty pay, if you're owed, I don't know, 93 weeks and they either don't want to pay it or they just want to, oh no, we'll give you 15. What do you mean you're going to give me? You're gonna be nice? No, there's no negotiating. It's like a 9-5 grievance. There's no negotiating. The hours are the hours, over 9-5. That's it. So if it's 93 weeks, guess what? It should be 93 weeks. Just the negotiating. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I've heard that from different places across the country. No, why negotiate? Oh, you should be happy with this amount. No, I'll be happy with what I'm supposed to get. Right?
And this should be cut and dry. Like, did the company, speaking in Article, we kind of moved to Article 17s here talking about this, but if the company shorted you pay, or they didn't pay a grievance check on time, or one of multitude of other reasons why you were owed money and you didn't get it, that's easily provable. Hey, I was supposed to get it on this check, and I didn't. So I filed a grievance. I filed a timely grievance, an Article 17 grievance that has penalty pay built into it. And here we are, 93 weeks later, almost 2 years later. Finally, I get made whole. I get my adjustment here to correctly, but now the company wants to argue that they should only pay 15 weeks, or even worse yet, a BA comes to you and says, "Oh, we're going to get you 15 weeks. Fuck you."
My God. Yeah. I mean, listen, bottom line, whatever you're owed, whether it's a penny or it's $98,000.
Well, has to be over $50 for us.
No, I know. $50 to full-time, 25 for part-timers. You know what I'm saying, though? Yeah. It's if it's whatever the minimum is, it's again, $50 for full-timers.
Yeah.
And 25 for part-timers, that's the threshold.
Yeah.
What we're trying to say is it's money that's owed to you.
Yes.
Okay? And why should anyone be able to say, well, we'll get you this, but not this? Just get me what I'm owed.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. And, if you don't want to do the job, then don't do it, right? I mean, you have a job to go back to at UPS.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is something that pains me. And it's not like being in that BA position, like that's your only option. Like, if you don't feel, this was always my biggest thing, is if you don't feel like you are representing the members, or if the members, more importantly, the members don't feel like you're representing them properly, then as a Teamster, I feel like it's your job to be like, hey, either I need to do better, or I need to go back to package, or I need to go back to part-time, or I need to do this. Because, and I'm not going to say I've never been a business agent. I was offered a position years ago, and I turned it down because my mother was sick, and I didn't feel like I could focus on the members and focus on her at the same time. So I turned the position down. Mm-hmm. But, and that was me, because, like, sure, maybe it might have been easier, but, like, being easier is not the point. Like, doing the job correctly is the point.
And that's the job, helping members.
If I'm looking at a member and telling a member that they should just settle for this, it's like, I don't understand what's going through that business agent's head.
Right. Yeah.
Other than just like, I don't want to fight for it. I don't want to spend the time fighting on it.
And again, their job is to help the members. Yep. They don't have to get on a truck. They don't have to load packages. Their job is to help members. And if you can't help a member, step aside. Do the right thing. Just step aside.
I mean,
or be better.
yeah, I can't say this enough. I've never been a business agent. I don't know what it is to do it. I imagine the job is hard. I imagine it is time consuming. I imagine it takes up a lot of your time and mental effort and like I am not going to sit here and crucify somebody that doesn't know what they're doing because they just got started. You know,
But
it takes time to get acclimated. It takes time to get going and learn it. You know, like you learn new things every day. If you're not learning new things every day, even as a driver, like not even as a business agent, just as a human being, if you're not learning something new every day, like what's the point? But
well, I mean, that's the truth.
yeah, strive to be better. That's all I'm asking. Strive to be better or step aside and let somebody else that's, trying to be better, trying to support the members, trying to support the local, move into that position.
Yeah. And I love helping people. My time as a BA, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people. I enjoyed getting back to people.
Yeah.
And, I was always available for people. You can call me, and I was at the buildings all the time. And I think that's important. If you're at the buildings more, you're taking care of issues right there, you'll get less calls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fact. I'm telling you, that's a fact. People see you there. They have more faith in your local. Hey, look, they're here. They can answer the questions right here. No, I can't. I don't have to worry about them not getting back to me because they're here. Either you want to do it or you don't. And if you didn't want to do it as a steward, then you certainly shouldn't do it as a VA, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Right? I mean, it's simple, and I just that's all important. So we talk about that with over 17 and everything like that. Just want to go back to the supervisors working for a second.
Yeah, we kind of got off on a little tangent there, didn't we?
We went off a little bit, okay, but that's fine because we had to go to the next step in in filing the grievance and everything, and you file these grievances, and it's important. Supervisors working, that is what it is. They're working. That's it. Now, if you have an extra work calling list, it's a local practice. You have an extra work calling list. If they don't use that, that's 100% right there. And again, if you're filling out the grievances properly too, I mean, you can't just, not put, good information on there. But if they don't use an extra work calling list, that's 100%. If they're sending people home early and supervisors are working, that should be 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. And, if not, like, you shouldn't accept less. You shouldn't accept less.
No.
And here's another thing too. I'm going to say something. In the contract, in the last contract, it came up where member of management has to let you know if they worked, right?
Yes.
It says it in the language. And I'll tell people, I said, okay, let's say you come in at 6 o'clock, go up to a supervisor. Hey, what time did you start working? Well, the cameras don't lie. So what time did you start working? I mean, let them tell you, let them be honest. Yeah, I started working at this time, I mean, and if they don't want to, if they're giving you a hassle, and that's where the problem comes in. They start giving you a hassle. No. And then you got to ask them for their name because they're not wearing their badges like they're supposed to. Then you get into a whole thing. And what could have been a very decent conversation is turned into an ugly thing because, they're taking a bad angle. And our members have to take the right angle too. They can't, even though they're stealing from us, the company, when they're supervisor working, you still, you don't be rude. Hey, you're working, you shouldn't be working. What time are you working? You follow these things and you put it on them. And, when they want to settle for, oh, let me give you 50. No, let me give you 60. Let me give you 70. Let me give you 80. I can only pay this much. Okay, well, if you can only pay me this much, then let's go to panel. Here's a little secret. If it goes to panel, they don't want to hear this case, the company. I'm telling this to everyone. They do not want to hear the case. They don't want a precedent-setting case where they have to pay. And they'll always settle it in the hall. Secret out. That's it. Okay. So don't accept less. Again, it's about if a supervisor worked and they worked and when they're working, that's what they should pay you, right? That's whatever you're owed. Everything else, it shouldn't be a hassle. And when they start coming at you like, and kiss my, I mean, what? You were working.
Oh,
Tell me how that's
my
okay.
line.
Uh, I left out the, you know, yeah, and it's not a hassle. You violated the contract. You're stealing from us, and that's the only way to look at it. That's it. Even setting up an area and cleaning up an area, that's our work,
Yeah.
right? I
It's
mean,
another thing on top of the supervisor's workings too. If you're a driver and you know that like you met a supervisor came and met you out on route for whatever reason, and he
in a truck,
worked, yeah, in a truck,
yeah,
he worked, or you saw him getting off the truck, whatever. Their name should be under in the WOR, but it should be out for
yeah,
everybody to see the next day. It should be the
hmm
code. Their code is usually 02 if you need to look for that instead of looking for their names. But also, like, if for some reason it's not, then ask them. It's like, hey, I know you worked yesterday. I saw you. Ask them. Get your steward in there, or get you another witness that says, hey, yeah, he told me I worked. He told me that he worked from this time to this time. This guy is a witness. If you have the WOR, make a copy of it, take a picture of it. Be like, hey, no, this
yep,
is it, and like that's 100% for you.
done.
That's
That's what they
100% of what
worked.
that is. So
Yeah,
and the WOR is black and white. Like, there's another thing too. The company is going to might try to argue that they exhausted all options. Very rarely, I don't know that I've ever heard I heard that argued successfully. But like just like with the extra work call-in list, they call those guys first. If those guys don't answer or say no or whatever, then they've got to stop. They've got to start from the top seniority down. All the way down, trying to call people in.
to add to that, I think I might have said this before, but it's important. It was Amazon week. I was the BA in McKinney,
Yeah.
your building.
Yep.
And the labor manager was like, we exhausted all means. So after I was done chuckling, um, and there was another BA with me, and we looked at each other. We're like, and we knew exactly what it was. Did every driver work 14 hours? Oh, not even close. Not even close, man. Not even. I mean, God, what? I mean, come on. There's no way you're not doing that.
Yeah.
You're not. It's. Stop at the. Oh yeah, we exhausted
And
all
and,
means.
and
Yeah, no, you
also,
didn't.
it's important that they can say that they exhausted all options. They can say they called all those people, but do they have a steward there to witness them doing that? Do they have a steward
Everything.
involved in
Yep.
the? I've been involved in the call-in process. They've been trying to call
Yeah.
in, and I've picked up my phone and tried to call people. And like I'm happy to help. I want people there. I don't want supervisors working. I want
Yeah.
Teamsters doing hourly work, Teamsters work.
So for the WORs, what you need to do is make a couple of copies so everyone's got, right?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So just, make sure you have those things. I mean, and when it comes up to grievance, here's the proof. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Don't let the company just,
Yeah.
you know, try to fool the BA or whatever. It is what it is. That's
Yeah.
it. So, and what I didn't mind is I wouldn't mind having a steward in on a hearing because they're there every day, right?
Yeah.
They're dealing with stuff
Yeah.
at that point, the point of contact. I mean, it's right away. So if you needed him, you bring him in there. If you needed to get the member on the phone, whatever it is. And if the BA doesn't want to have anyone else in there, are they making deals? I'm not saying they are, but why wouldn't you want to have all the information just in case,
Yeah.
right? So, like we'll always say, is if we're going to hold the company accountable, we're going to hold ourselves accountable.
Yes.
Okay. So I think these were two important topics, a bunch of things we talked about. These are very important. I need everyone to remember the things we
Yeah.
talked about. And again, I'm just going to say it again. The threshold for penalty pay for a full timer, it's $50 and it's 25 for a part timer. I need
Yeah.
to say that
Yeah.
it's, there is that threshold,
Yeah.
and I don't want someone fighting and saying, "Oh, well, no, there's a threshold." But and again,
And to reiterate too, is like it's important to fill out your grievances in a timely manner. 10 days, 10 working days. So if if you're off a couple of days or if you're on vacation a week, that time doesn't count.
it doesn't.
It's important for you to fill them out correctly, on time, and fully. Like be as
Yes.
be as full, be as diligent as you can about filling everything out, and doing it correctly, getting the right dates, getting the right times, getting the right people on there.
Yes, and we're gonna finish it up with the Article 17. It says it in the article. our grievances at our local 767 to be made whole in every way. And you can put it on there, but if you forget to put it on there or you don't want to put it on there, it shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't affect your case
Shouldn't
because
be.
it's already spoken to.
Yeah.
Yeah, shouldn't be. Hope everyone has a good Memorial Day, that extra day, and
Be safe.
be safe, everyone. And for myself and Garfield, have a good day.
We all deal with national language, but on this podcast, when it comes to supplemental language, we deal mostly with the southern region. And as always, it's best to get advice from your local stewards or business agents. If you would like to reach out to us with any questions, we have an email address, 767realitycheck@gmail.com. That's 767realitycheck@gmail.com.
And remember, strong people stand up for themselves, but the strongest people stand up for others.